Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. How are we doing? Today's video is going to be a solo queue tips and tricks video because if you guys have tried it yourself, it's one of the hardest Call of Duties in recent times to actually solo queue in ranked. Because of the lack of communication, because of the lack of the red dots, it's a nightmare. So we're going to be going through things such as how to better improve enemy awareness, where the enemy is, that is, how to fill in the gaps within the team, how to improve teamwork even though you're solo queuing, and then just general tips and tricks that don't fall into that thing. So there is going to be valuable information throughout the video, so make sure you guys stick to the end. I've left a little treat in for you guys at the end as well. The enemy team have a little bit of a go at each other towards the end of the video, so I've left that in at the end just so you guys can have a little laugh at the end. A comic relief after the serious tips and tricks video we're going to be having. But before we get into it, I just wanted to say, the gameplay we've got here, I dropped nearly a 2KD with 2 minutes on hill time using the Vaznov on Hydro. Banger gameplay, so if you're not here for the tips and tricks, make sure you stay with the video. I'm currently in Crimson, I think, during this gameplay. So yeah, the gameplay is worth watching, if nothing else. And another thing, I want to say a huge thank you to the support on the channel. It's been huge. Loving it. Keep it coming. So, we're going to be going with the general tips to start things off here. First things first, you can't win every game. You're not going to win every game solo queuing, so take your L's. Learn what you can do solo to improve, because at the end of the day, you can't control your teammates. Worry about what you can do to better improve your chances of winning the next game. So that's my first tip. Just chill out if you don't win. The worst thing that can happen is you let the game get into your head and then you're in a downward spiral from there. This leads me nicely onto just knowing what you can control in the game. So you can't, as I said, you can't control the teammates. You can only control what you're doing, what your person's doing in the gameplay. So just win your ones, rotate what you can, and just focus on controlling what you can actually control in the game. Next thing I'm just going to say is be adaptable. So, for example, if things aren't going well, you're noticing that the team hasn't got enough people to push hills, being out a sub. If you're noticing that someone isn't rotating quite as much, make sure you're doing that thing. Make sure you're rotating. Make sure you are being that sort of adaptable player. You've got to learn how to use both the sub and the Vaz and the tac. Having that diversity does help you win more solo queue games. It's worth doing. I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm an AR player, I'm a sub player. Learn both, especially if you're solo queuing a lot, because it will grate your chance of winning the games. And then afterwards, this is a very obvious one, but if you run in with a couple of people, you run into a couple of people over and over again, even though you're solo queuing, invite them to the party. You're going to have much better chance playing with, say if you got a couple of wins with a couple of teammates or whatever, run with them, inviting them to the lobby afterwards. If they don't join, so what? If they do, great, you got a 3-stack or 4-stack even if you're lucky. So that's the general tips and tricks. Now let's go into tips that will help you find where the enemy is. So first things first, I would say always try game chat, even if if doable. If you're in a party talking outside of the game, you're not going to want to do that. But if you can go in game chat, I do recommend doing so. It helps you, it helps the team, and it sort of invites other people. This is a nice little 4-piece here, by the way. Spoiler. But yeah, also watch the kill cams. You don't respawn straight away in this game. There is a respawn delay, and watching the kill cams is essential to ensure that you might get some free intel. So for example, if I'm killed by an AR a while away, watching the kill cam, I look for the blue dots on the kill cam, and that'll be where the enemy team are. And from there, you've got a little bit more info than I would have without doing so. As I say, you've got a respawn delay anyway, so you might as well. Finally, use the compass. At the top of the map, obviously when enemies shoot, they don't appear on the radar. Top of the map, there is a compass. It shows you the direction they're shooting at, and the bigger the red dot, the closer they are. So maybe play a bit of pubs, keep an eye on that compass, and really learn how to utilize that, because it does give you a good idea of where the enemy is going to be coming from. And then finally, with regards to know when the enemy team is, use the ping. Up on the D-pad is ping. You can double tap to know where the enemies are. It's worthwhile using. If I've been in circumstances where I've used it first and the enemy team just suddenly start using, my teammates suddenly start using it, and it's useful information as long as the pins are accurate. Sometimes you get a couple people pinging things that aren't quite where you want to be pinging them, and it can lead you in the wrong direction. But generally speaking, non-verbal communication is available in the way of pinging on the game. This moves us into teamwork improvements. So, as I say, using pings improves teamwork, even though you're solo queuing, and then learn how to use the minimap. So on the minimap, obviously, I'm on a 10 bomb, by the way, in this gameplay. The minimap isn't quite as useful as it has been in other games, because red dots do not appear when enemies shoot, as I've said previously. So what information can you get from it? You can tell where your teammates are spawning, and then as a result, you can tell where the enemy's spawning. I will do a separate spawn tips and tricks video because it's quite complex to get into map by map. But yeah, generally speaking, you can sort of tell where the enemy is spawning from where your teammates are spawning. You can see, looking at the enemies, because they're actually arrows, they're not just dots, you can see where they're watching. So although, say for example, you're holding a hill, you don't know where to hold, look to see where your teammates are holding. If they're looking in 3 directions and there's only one more place to watch, you watch that one place. It might be boring, you might not get as many kills, but the chances are the hill's going to be broken a lot less times than you would be not looking at that radar. As I say, use the radar as well as the compass. It will provide you with free intel that you wouldn't have otherwise. This is more specific to control. But yeah, ensure that you stick with the team for trade. So control, as you can tell, often case it goes to lives, and in such cases you want to be able to trade. So I see a lot of people pushing the hills singularly, pushing control points by themselves, and then there's no one there for the trade. Make sure you're pushing with the team. Teamwork is so important on control. Even if you've not got comms, just stay with your team. It's as simple as that. Stay with your team, work towards the same objective. Again, this comes from reading the minimap, but yeah, that is an essential thing to do on control specifically, even on hardpoint slightly. But I'd say control a little bit more because you only spawn one direction and you're only hitting 2 points. So yeah, work with the team in control, run where they're running, you'll win more games. So don't be the drifting slayer unless the team is blocking. A lot of people I see when I'm solo queuing, or who are solo queuing and moan that no one's blocking spawns, is, say for example, I'm using the sub here. It's part of the sub's role to get into their faces, be annoying, be that aggressive player. Don't do that unless someone's blocking. Again, use the minimap, see where your teammate players are. You need to know the block spots again. So this comes from, you need to learn the spawns before you can know how to be better at this. But generally speaking, don't push forward unless there's someone already in the back behind you. So otherwise you're going to flip spawns, your teammates are going to be mad at you, and you're going to lose that hill. So you've got to be really aware where you need to be and where you need your teammates to be to ensure that they don't spawn behind you. Now, if you feel like if you're pushing forward and your teammates all die on the hill, you need to pull back straight away. Otherwise, your teammates are going to have no chance of winning the new set of rows, and it just doesn't lead to good points. So yeah, in summary, don't be the drifting slayer unless someone on your team is blocking spawns. Finally, we go to the where you can fill gaps within the team. So, as I said at the beginning of the video, it is essential to learn all playstyles. You won't be the best. This is me down to a T. I'm not the best at a particular playstyle, but I'm generally decent. I'm generally above average at every playstyle here. So you'll see me run around with a sub like this on the map. You'll see me dominate with an AR on the map as well, holding rotations, blocking spawns, left, right, and center. I mean, I'm a sub here and I'm blocking spawns. This is what I'm saying. You need to know where you fit into the team. If no one's doing the job, you do it. You don't have a choice. Unfortunately, you're solo queuing. You can't do what you want to do all the time, so you need to be adaptable. So yeah, learn how to use both guns, even if it's in pubs. Run around with the Vaznev, jump yourself on a 24/7 playlist on pubs, get used to the Vaznev, how it recoils, a little bit of movement. And then with the AR, if you haven't used the AR before, give it a try. Look up a class set video. I've got one on the channel, feel free to check that out, but there's plenty out there. But yeah, learn how to use both guns, learn spawns, learn how to block spawns if you're in AR, and learn when you need to push out if you're an SMG. Because they do have different roles. I do see it. They do have different roles, and it's essential to learn both of them if you do want to succeed. One shot on the rock. So yeah, this is the overall thing I'm trying to say here is you need to be able to fill the gaps within the team. So when I'm solo queuing, you'll see here, it takes me a while to understand where you sort of need maybe a 30% of the game to understand what your teammates are doing, what sort of job they're playing, for you to determine what you need to be doing. So I can sort of tell that my teammates aren't quite keen on rotating early, so I'm sort of playing that role. But it may take you half a game to understand what your teammates' roles are in the game, and then you've just got to be the gap filler, be the person that sits in time, be the hill butch if necessary, if no one else is willing to do it. Unfortunately, you're solo queuing. This is what I want to reiterate here. You don't have a choice unless you just don't want to win. You've got to fill the gap. If no one's rotating, if you're not getting spawns, if you're always breaking hills rather than holding hills, rotate earlier. Be that person to rotate earlier, guarantee spawns, play creddy until your teammate can come and help, and then any kills you get will spawn them out. That is as easy as it is. Unfortunately, I wish I got that third guy there. What else have we got here? So we got another couple minutes of the video. I hope, yeah, I sort of covered everything. I know I've gone through it a little bit quickly. If there's any sort of things you want me to reiterate or clarify, leave it in the comments because I will reply. But generally speaking, just to summarize, you want to know where the enemy team are. So watch the kill cams, use your pings, communicate in game chat if possible. You want to improve teamwork. So again, learn how to use the minimap, learn to read where your teammates are watching, where they're not watching, what needs filling. Don't be drifting. Make sure someone's blocking if you want to push up a little bit, or if you're rotating, make sure you're blocking the spawns for news so that you can guarantee them. Don't be the, chill out. You can't win every game. Control. This is one of the big things. Learn what you can control in the game and work on that. So right here, I could be pushing hill right now, but then no one would be blocking this whole left side. So although I'm not getting kills, although I'm not getting interactions, I'm actually benefiting the team here because if someone did push through, they win spawns, they could potentially win the map. So yeah, control what you control, win your ones. At the end of the day, if you're not winning your ones, you can't blame your team. If there's a gunfight, which was a one-on-one that you could have potentially won, if you haven't won it, then it's your fault. And work on winning your one-on-ones. That's as simple as it is. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it somewhat useful. Might have been a little bit harsh in some places, but anyway, I'll leave you to listen to the funny comms in the death chat, in the enemy team's chat, sorry, and I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao for now.
Fucking spoilers and then you fucking killed us with a 2-piece fucking retard.
What are you crying about, bro? You had like loads of kills at the start and then you had like 4 kills in the next like 8 points.
Bro, you had 1 kill at the start, man.
Hey, baby. How's it going?